Hi, I'm Hope Baxter. That's a lot of foam. Oh my goodness.
Rolling.
Boom. Hello and welcome to another Talking to the Actor.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, actor.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank
Would you
you.
like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Hope Baxter. I'm from Sheffield and I've been acting since I was about 15, 16, so yeah, quite a long time.
There we go. That is
Yeah.
an introduction. That covers a lot of bases.
Yeah.
Cool. How was the pie?
It was alright, yeah. It's the first time I've had that happen, so yeah, it was a new experience, which is always good.
Yeah, I asked if you'd ever been hit by a pie before and you went, not a pie, a fist, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't as painful as the fist. And just to point out, I don't go around just like fighting with people. It was martial arts class.
Yep.
I'm not a violent person, I promise.
All actors are a bit violent.
Well, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so let's get to the bottom. This one is slightly experimental in that we only met each other today.
Yes.
Your name was passed to us by Melanie Hopkins.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, I hope we'll have, she's lovely and we'll have good stories.
Oh,
No
okay.
pressure.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You need to be lovely and have good stories.
Yeah. She said you'd get us 1 million views.
Yeah,
No.
she
Yeah,
said better.
totally.
Still no pressure.
Easy, yeah, no problem.
Yeah. But it means that, all my reserves of, I remember when they said this, or, when we worked together on this.
That
I
never
don't have that back.
happened,
I don't have that ammo, so
Yeah.
it's got to be more I'm Parkinson right now. I'm Parkinson and you're Muhammad Ali
Yeah.
punching people in the face.
And
Yeah.
I'm Tom.
And you're Tom.
Hey, Tom.
So let's begin. You're an actor, you've been doing it since you were 15, 16.
Yeah, well, I did kind of school productions before that, but then I got involved in some youth theatre. I think it's about 15 when I started doing that, and then I went and did it at college, at Norton College, and then it just went from there.
Okay, so Sheffield based.
Yes.
And you already told us you went to a private school?
Well, yeah, it's a private school in Sheffield called Bethany School. It's quite a small one, really little class sizes, so most people haven't heard of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't.
Yeah.
And I thought I knew all the schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Upperthorpe, near the Sheffield Uni roundabout, that sort of area.
I didn't even know there was a school there.
Yeah, well, it is a little bit tucked away, so if you didn't know about it, you probably wouldn't see it. Mm-hmm.
I assume there are schools in that area.
There's children, so yeah.
The university roundabout is where my knowledge of Sheffield ends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's just the names
Past
you
that
see on
is-
buses.
Yeah.
Past there, it's sign off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was it? We went Woodthorpe.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Bayton.
Still
They're
now.
just,
Yeah.
they're just names.
Yeah,
You see
sure.
them on a bus and you go, oh, that's it.
I mean,
Place.
unless there's no reason to go there unless you kind of live there or know people that live there, so yeah, fair
Or you're
enough.
going to a wrestling show.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
It
Well,
was amazing. One of the wrestlers was a postman.
a postman.
A postman. I'm in love with this guy. He came out, he was the good guy, and he gave all the kids envelopes that had sweets in them.
Oh,
In his postman regalia with bag and
that's
everything.
so cute.
Turns out he's a real postman.
Oh,
Yeah.
playing on life experiences,
Yeah.
I like it.
I didn't speak to him, but I want to. And
Yeah,
I want his
to be his friend.
I want to spend time with him.
But maybe he's your postman and you just don't even know.
Every
You could just
post-
knock at the door one day and he's just stood there with a parcel.
There was one postman, I was like, maybe that is him. But
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't want to go, oh, yeah, wrestler. Right, so, so you went to Beth,
Bethany
who
School.
was a female
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Thank you for saving me there, Tom. Parkinson never had to do this. Is that where the acting, you said you were in youth stuff?
No, I did kind of school productions there, but then because I really liked doing that kind of stuff, I went and it was one based at the Lyceum. They used to do kind of youth theatre shows and stuff, and they would do them kind of surrounding their plays that they had on, and you'd kind of do youth workshops based on what they were doing, and then at the end of that you'd do kind of devise a piece and do it on stage, and then you'd go and get to see the actual professional piece. So it was a really nice thing to do. I did a couple of those. They were fun.
What plays?
Oh, I'm trying to remember now. I remember one of them was a Christmas play. I think it might have been the pantomime that year. And I actually ended up meeting a couple of people doing that I'm still involved with doing theatre stuff today. So that's really cool.
Nice. Do you
Yeah.
want to name names or?
I met a guy who was one of the founders of Mage Plays called Toby. Through doing that when we were like 14 or 15, and then we ended up going to college together, and then like 8 years later I auditioned for a play and I was like, hey, I know you, and it was like really weird, and now we're like quite friendly again, so that's nice.
Mage Plays might get mentioned later.
Yeah. yeah. So yeah, that was a really good experience. So yeah, that's kind of what got me really into it, and that's what I decided to do at college. So
Fair. So sorry, so what plays were they, the youth theatre? When you were doing the youth theatre, you said like work with plays and then you got to see the end play.
Yeah.
And it was the Christmas panto.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was like the Christmas panto of Aladdin, and then feeling the other one so long ago. I think it was a Shakespeare actually. But that one was at the Crucible, not the Lyceum actually. What was it? It wasn't Richard III, but I do remember going to see that. I can't remember. So long ago.
Infamy. They've all got it in for me. Anyway, cool. So then you did it at college, Tom.
Yes.
You thought you were going to say something. Was that just a sigh at my reference?
I don't get the references. Like we've had this on. I just don't know theatre. Like you go Shakespeare, I go Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet. Done.
Cool.
Was it one of them?
Because your mother didn't do a degree when she turned 40.
No.
It was English language, but all it was half learning Spanish and half doing Shakespeare plays that you then got dragged to.
Yeah.
I've done all the Shakespeares.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Richard III where he says infamy a lot. And
Yeah.
It's like Carry On something where he goes infamy. Carry On is not Shakespeare. I think it's Kenneth Williams. It's like infamy. They've all got it infamy, and it's a pun that makes people go, oh.
Well, Richard III, I saw that at the Crucible, and I remember watching that, and that is like the one thing that I was like, I want to do that because it was so good. Oh, it was amazing. It was Kenneth Branagh. And it was amazing. And I remember seeing it and thinking, yes, I want to do that. That looks great.
So it was Kenneth Branagh, was it like 1 billion hours? Like that.
It was.
Oh yeah, that's Shakespeare too. I know that
4 hours of Hamlet. Sorry, I had to study Hamlet for GCSE.
Yes.
And we watched a modern telling of Hamlet.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And 3 times we watched Kenneth Branagh's 4 hour.
That's a lot of Kenneth Branagh to watch.
A lot of life.
Yeah.
Sorry, turning about me. You go. Yeah, Kenneth Branagh, Richard III.
Yeah, and it was he was great, and I really loved it, and I just remember thinking, I think that was the first time I decided I wanted to actually be involved, because I'd always liked going to the theatre and seeing theatre, because I kind of grew up with a family that would take me a lot. But yeah, that was the first time I thought, actually, I want to be on there doing that, not just sitting here watching it.
Is that your origin story? Is that the moment where it clicked?
I think so, yeah. And I'm trying to remember how old I was. I think it was probably about maybe like 13, 14. And yeah, like I'd always enjoyed doing school productions and stuff, but I think that was the first time it clicked that this is something I see myself doing, and I've got like a passion for it, and I want to be involved in it, and it just stuck from there.
Nice.
So yeah.
Any stories from that time, like any funny anecdotes or any? I know it's a long time ago, and like no is a legitimate answer. I mean, Melanie promised us gold, but you know.
Oh my goodness, this is too much pressure now. I can't think. I think my first acting credit is probably we did a production of Wind in the Willows at school, and I was cast as the rat. So that's like, if anyone ever says what's your first part? I was like, I was a rat. So. Woo!
Were you the rat?
Yeah.
Ratty,
yeah. I was Ratty, so that's my...
Ratty's cool.
Okay.
But he's still a rat, and I really don't like rats, so yeah.
Right, okay, it's a long time ago for me, but for the explanation of Tom, and anyone choosing to listen. So, Wind in the Willows, you have Toad of Toad Hall.
Is he a toad?
He's a toad.
Okay.
And he's like your nice, rich person who's a bit eccentric.
Okay.
He's kind of like Doctor Who if Doctor Who, instead of like time travel, just had money.
And was a toad.
Okay.
And was a toad. Right? And then, is it Mole?
Yeah, there's a mole.
Is his like best mate? Who... Is it Mole or is it Otter? Or...
Oh, you're putting my knowledge to the test now.
Right, another animal...
I was like 7 years old when this happened.
...is like his mate, who's much more down to earth and understands things, because Toad's ending up in court and all sorts because he's just not behaving. He doesn't get it, it's socially wrong. And then Ratty's like their cool, I know the streets, I can get things done and sorted.
So Ratty's like the fans?
Ratty's the Fonz.
That's a cool
Ratty
part.
is
That's
the
a cool
Fonz.
part.
It was a cool part.
It's
Yeah.
a very good part. When you say I played a rat, not great. But when you say I played Ratty
Yeah,
is
that's
the rat.
yeah.
Yeah.
The rat. Yeah. Yeah.
I would
guess.
say Ratty's one of the top 3 rats of all time.
What are the other two?
The rat from Ratatouille,
Yeah.
whose name I forget.
Remy.
Rennie, and Clooney, the evil rat from Redwall, who has one eye.
Oh yes.
Yeah, if you ever read Redwall.
Well, I actually, funnily enough, dressed up as him for World Book Day once when I was a kid at school. So apparently, I was really into rats as a child.
Feels like you're typecasting.
Yeah,
Ratty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 4th one isn't a rat, but it's in Home Alone when he convinces that guy that he's being threatened, and he's like, "You damn dirty rat."
Yeah.
And he's not though. He's just through a door, but he thinks he's gonna be shot. But that's not really a rat. That's like why it's 4th.
Yeah, that's why I didn't make the top 3. Fair enough.
Okay, I'll pull this back. Yeah. So you played a rat. Ratty.
Apparently, yeah. I don't really remember it. I get reminded of it a lot. Like, I'm still in touch with the teacher that I had, and every time I'm in a production, she'll comment on my like status, going, "Just remember where you started out." And I'm just like, I was like 7 years old. Leave me alone.
Oh, are there pictures?
I'm sure there are somewhere. I'm sure my mother has some somewhere. Yeah.
And then, okay, so you went on from youth theatre. I'm going to close the book on the rat.
Yeah. Okay. I'm all right with that.
Actually, no. Did you read Redwall?
Well, I remember my brother was really into it when I was a kid, and I was like I really looked up to my brother, so I would sort of read everything he was reading. So yeah, and that's where like I've got a massive love of like all things like fantasy and stuff. So, and that comes from like my older brother, because he's quite a lot. He's like 8 years older than me. So I sort of grew up with that kind of stuff, and I still really like all kind of fantasy and stuff today.
Fair. I have a real regret of my past, because I read Redwall, like I'd read it and then read it again, and I really wish I'd read more books.
Yeah.
But I had like probably a year or two where it's like it was that or like Goosebumps, Monster Blood.
Yeah.
I'm like, why didn't I expand out? I was still able to learn things.
Hey, you
then.
like what you like. It's fine.
Yeah. Cool. Again, now I'm closing the book on the rat.
Yeah.
But you get points for having read Redwall.
Cool.
So you went from the youth theatre to college.
Yes.
Norton.
Yeah. The BTEC.
Yeah. Do tell.
Well, I'm sad it's not there anymore. It's gone. I really enjoyed the BTEC. I thought it was a really good course. We started out just doing kind of workshop things and stuff, and then at the end of the first year you do a musical, and we did The Wizard of Oz. I played the Scarecrow. Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Like I'm not a massive musical theatre person, but it was fun doing that. And then we did sort of more serious things in the second year. And I can't even remember what the name of the play was that was our final production, but it was like I played someone that was like the mother of a schizophrenic daughter or something, and that was fun because I got to like really sink my teeth into that character and just like be really serious, and yeah.
Nice.
Norton was good. I liked it.
Cool. I have questions.
Yes.
First one, you went, I played the Scarecrow. It
Yes.
doesn't come across in the audio, but you did a look like I played the Scarecrow. Almost like a shrug. Was it not good playing a Scarecrow?
Oh no, it was.
Great.
It was. It's just not the kind of part you expect to, I don't know, be cast in. But actually, I think it was inevitable I was going to end up being a Scarecrow, because I'm really like clumsy and like I don't know why I expected to be cast as anything else. So it was good.
Nice. And then schizophrenia. You'd be amazed how many people at college did a play involving like schizophrenia.
Yeah, they're a fan of those, especially at Norton. At Norton, they tend to recycle plays like every 3 years as well. So I'll always come across someone in like the Sheffield scene that's been in the same play at Norton as me, like a few years before or after. So yeah, they do. Yeah, it happens a lot.
So were you learning techniques at this point?
Yeah, we were sort of we were looking at things like Uta Hagen and stuff like that. Yeah, a bit of the method and stuff. Obviously, they don't dwell too much into it in college, but we did some film making technique and stuff and things like that. But then, they kind of, you go more into that in uni really. But I've got really fond memories of Norton actually. I really enjoyed my time there.
Fair. And in terms of like friends and actors and peers, how was that?
Well, it's always interesting when you get a bunch of like 16-year-old actors together. It's going to be drama, isn't it? But I made a really nice group of friends. I'm still really close to some of them now. There's not a lot of people. I don't think there's many people I went to college with that are still acting now. There's a lot of people that I know from things I've done that have been to Norton, just not in my class. So I mentioned Major Plays before. Quite a few of the guys that have acted in their productions have been to Norton and stuff. So we can all like make jokes about the people, like the teachers and stuff, and we all have a lot in common in that way. But yeah, I can't think of anyone in my actual year that still does acting now. But yeah.
Cool. So 2 years. I take it because you enjoyed it that you saw like Richard III, Kenneth Branagh, decided you want to do it, and the course kind of cemented that this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
And enjoy doing.
Yeah. And I found that I just took it. I had a real passion for it, and I took it really seriously. And of course, when you've got like kids that are like 16 and don't really know what they want to do, you'll get a lot of kids in the class that are just there because they think, oh, drama, that sounds fun, I'll give that a whirl. Whereas I was there and I was like, I am serious about this. This is going to be my career. I'm here to learn. I'm here to become a better actor. So like even at 16, I was really like determined and serious about it.
Did that cause any tension with those that are there for more laid back?
Probably, yeah. I'm sure it did. I mean, like I say, there's always like so much drama, especially with actors and 16, 17-year-old actors times 10. So, yeah. I tried to think of the nice parts of it.
Cool. And any more anecdotes or anything from that time?
Here's one. When I was playing the Scarecrow, I had this costume that was made from like patches of all different kinds of material and stuff, and one of them was like a sort of like a Hessian kind of material which was there, and at that point in time I had my belly button pierced. One night on stage while I was in the middle of the line, it caught on like the Hessian stuff and like tore out. And I had to like continue acting because I was in the middle of a scene and pretend like it hadn't happened while I was like in the most pain ever.
Did you pull it off?
I think I pulled it off quite well. I remember getting off and saying to my friend, "Oh my goodness, look what's happened!" And they said, "Oh, I didn't notice it on stage," but I haven't. It has not made a reappearance ever since that night. The belly button piercing was gone after that for good. That put me off that forever. So yeah.
I'd say you did phenomenally well if you carried on going. I couldn't.
Yeah, the thing is, when you're on stage as well, you're just in it, like your mind's in a different place. So I think things that would normally really like you'd have a big reaction to aren't as big a thing on stage. Like I've had all sorts of things on stage, like where I don't know, like stubbed a toe or something. You know, in real life, if you stub your toe, you're stunned there going, oh shit, that really hurts. But like on stage, it just doesn't. It passes over you, and you're not that bothered. Like I guess you're just in a different mindset. So I think I probably pulled it off well. A lot of it was the adrenaline and stuff.
Fair play, respect you for that.
High
threshold.
I feel like that's a lot of adrenaline needed.
Yeah.
That is a committed scarecrow.
Yeah.
That's not cowardly. No, wait, scarecrow isn't cowardly.
No. Brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not smart to not go get that checked in.
Yeah.
Could get infected.
Yeah. Method acting, you know.
Fair. So you graduated from Norton with a
distinction. Yeah.
Top.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Sounds about right for taking it that seriously.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of those courses. As long as you sort of like put the effort in, you can come out with a decent grade. So.
Fair.
Yeah.
Cool. Photographer. So it's a really like obvious divide, but it goes right back to the Greeks. So obviously the ancient Greeks like tragedy, comedy. Mm-hmm. Those were the two dividing performance pieces, and then everything else people argue it's some variation of those
Yeah.
two things. Did
Yeah,
you
sure.
find you leaned more to comedy, more to serious? Did you find you had a preference for one?
It's funny actually. I always think of myself as more of a serious actor, not a comedy actor. But I seem to find myself repeatedly cast in comedic roles and in comedy plays. And then people say to me like, "Oh, you've got a real knack for like comedy acting." But to me, I don't. Like, I don't think of myself as a funny person. And I think, oh, I'm really more of a serious actor. But somehow I seem to land in comedy a lot. Like the majority of the things I do are comedy. So apparently, even though I don't think I am, maybe I do lean to more towards comedy.
There'll be more on this later, but when your name was passed to me and I messaged you about being a guest,
Yeah.
I didn't know I had seen you on stage.
Oh, okay.
Since then,
Memorable then.
I was delighted. No, it was. I didn't put it together that
No,
you
I
were
was
that
just joking,
character, but I was delighted that you were that character. And that was a very funny performance that I still laugh at. There's one joke in particular that I thought was great.
Okay.
But we'll go more.
You
into
can
that
tell me
later.
which one later, yeah.
Oh no, we'll go on it on stage, but I don't want to break the chronology. Jumping forward,
Yes.
I'd be skipping like almost a decade.
You have to wait.
Yeah. Okay, so you did your Norton, you got your distinction,
Yeah.
and I know because previous convo you went to Manchester. Is
Yeah.
that from Norton?
I auditioned for a bunch of drama schools. I got into a couple. I got into one down in London, and two down in London and one in Manchester. But the one in Manchester was slightly better and also, a bit closer to home. Manchester's a bit cheaper. So I ended up going to the Arden School of Theatre in Manchester. Yeah.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
It's quite a big one.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
good.
got a good reputation.
Yeah,
I see it on
it's got
CVs and things, and it's.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
it's pretty well thought of, I think.
How was leaving Sheffield?
Well, I never spent loads of time outside of Sheffield. So yeah, I didn't really get used to living in Manchester because I'm used to Sheffield, which even though it's considered quite a big city, feels so small to me. And Manchester just felt enormous in comparison. So I wasn't that keen on that, and then obviously that also meant maybe I shouldn't live in somewhere like London, because if Manchester seems a bit big, maybe London would seem a little bit too big. So yeah, I didn't stay there after I finished my degree. I came back to Sheffield. I like Sheffield.
Fair. So I've spent time in Manchester. It is huge.
Yeah.
And the other thing that always got me is when you go more to the centre of Manchester, the buildings get really high and really
Yeah.
close compared to Sheffield, where it's all kind of open.
Yeah.
We're getting some taller buildings, but you still.
But Sheffield feels very green and open, and
Yes, whereas Manchester felt very, very contained.
it's kind of oppressive. Well, that's what I felt like. I don't know. It was very grey and like you say, buildings, whereas Sheffield's a lot greener, and I just absolutely love nature, and I just didn't feel like there was much nature in Manchester, and I think that was the main thing that I disliked about it.
I get exactly what you mean by oppressive. It feels that compared to what Sheffield feels like. The people are really nice in Manchester, and it's a very pretty city.
Yeah.
But
I suppose you're just used to one thing. Like
Yeah.
I was born and grown up in Sheffield. I'd never been abroad at that point, so I was just. I guess it was just what I was used to.
fair. Did you get homesick and stuff then, or?
I think I did a bit, especially I was in a relationship with a guy for the first 2 years that I was there, and then when we broke up, I remember in the third year feeling quite homesick, because then I was like obviously a bit heartsick because my relationship had ended, and I ended up going home a lot more. Then like my weekends, I'd often go back to Sheffield and see friends and family. So I definitely. Yeah, Sheffield definitely was kind of like, felt like home. I didn't ever really feel like Manchester was home when I lived there.
You're the Sheffield girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Cool. Okay, so let's go right back. You went in Manchester, you went to Arden.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Studies, what did you do?
Yeah, it was totally different kettle of fish to being at college, because everyone that was there for a reason. They were there to be actors, and so it went from kind of, people enjoying it but goofing around a bit at college to this massively competitive atmosphere of people trying to like be the best and look the best and make the best impressions all the time. And yeah, it was like everything became a competition to like shine the brightest and make an impression. And we had some really great teachers though, some pretty successful like actors in TV and stuff. So I learned a lot, but it was a strange atmosphere to be in. I had like these friends going to uni, where they were like, oh yeah, I have like 4 or 5 hours of lectures a week, to me being in drama school where you're there like all day, every day, like just being totally thrown into these bizarre situations with people you don't really know. Like, for instance, I remember one of the exercises we did, and this was, a few weeks in, they were like, we're going to do this exercise. I can't remember if it's a Stanislavski or Jutta Hagen one, and it was like, basically you have to get into bed together, and then you're like having an affair with this person you're in bed with, and then your boyfriend's going to walk through the door and we're just going to see what happens. And it's like, so you're just there like, whoa, this is like, I don't know either of these people, and you're like, okay, what should I do? And they're like, it's up to you. And it's like, wow, I've never been in this sort of like bizarre situation before, so it was an interesting experience.
You haven't?
No.
Fair. Was that the atmosphere? Obviously the competitiveness is going to impact a bit, but you said in college you felt like you were taking it very seriously and others, not everyone, but some of us weren't. Being around everyone who's taking it seriously, was that beneficial, or?
It was like, it was nice to feel more professional, but at the same time, it was like you you get a feeling constantly that the other people are wanting you to fail to make themselves look better. So then you don't feel like supported at all. And then, I don't know, I just don't feel like my work, my performance is as strong with a group of people that I don't have any sort of trust or anything with. Like, don't get me wrong, there were some really great people in my course and I had some really good friendships, but if I'm doing theatre and I have a really good, strong relationship with someone and we've got a lot of trust, then I feel like you can take something a lot further with someone you've got trust with. Whereas if you're doing something with someone and you're thinking they want me to do really bad, it's harder to kind of take risks with that person and take your performance to a next level. So it's kind of, in some ways beneficial, in other ways not at all.
Was there any, or did you perceive any kind of sabotaging or scene stealing, that kind of thing?
There was a lot of people trying to like make themselves seen in scenes and stuff, but I also saw a lot of like behind the back stuff, which I hate. I'm not about that at all. And there'd be people spreading rumours, trying to like cause fallout, the rumours, all that kind of stuff, just trying to throw people off the game. And it did throw me off my game, like, because I grew up with generally pretty nice people, and I wasn't used to this sort of backstabbing and bitchiness, and it actually put me off acting to a degree, and it took me a while to sort of get used to not all acting is going to be like this, not everyone's out to get you and stuff after I'd finished uni. Drama school was a weird kind of experience for me. Like I say, I learned a lot in some ways, but in other ways it knocked my confidence a lot in other ways, so it was kind of a strange experience.
No, I can see that. Sorry, I know I do my own anecdotes and stuff. When I did my degree, I had a gap year, so I was like a year behind.
Yeah.
All my friends who had gone off to uni, the ones who did medical or drama found their experiences very intense.
Yeah.
Lot of hard work, a lot of hours, a lot of push, probably too far, or not abusive, but very took a toll kind of experiences. Whereas people who had done, like I was doing a history degree, people who had done things like sociology, English language, astrophysics and stuff, tended to not an easier time, but a much less intense recovery is there. Here's a week to just read books at your own pace kind of thing. And
especially because you'd tell people, oh, I'm doing acting at uni, and a lot of people that aren't actors or whatever would immediately assume, your course is so easy. You just have to learn lines and get up there and do it like what a Mickey Mouse course. And it's like, actually, I'm like studying hard, like first thing in the morning to the evening, going home, doing more stuff, learning all this like method and doing all this stuff. Like it's not like an easy course to do. And quite a lot of people in my course dropped out because they just couldn't hack the amount of pressure that the course entailed. So
yeah. And also, like the creatives, there's a lot more on the end product, I think, than some kind of degrees or purposes. Like, for instance, like our degree was slightly different because there wasn't a written element. About a third of our course was written.
Of actual work, about a third of like
Mark.
grade was a lot higher.
yeah.
Was it 50?
It might have been 50 or 60. Quite a bit of it was
No,
written.
because our theory was a lot less than our practical. Because I remember our tutor saying like, look, this is what you need to do, but I can't tell you, you're not going to have time to do it all, and I can't tell you to do this over that because that's way more marks kind of thing. There was a written element in all our practical.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like, of the practical work, like,
But
the actual theory, the theory part of it,
yeah.
I think was about 40. And then the practical had a decent amount of written
About
within
60,
it.
Yeah.
Because I know that's why I only got a pass, because my written was awful for
Yeah.
all of it.
But what I was getting at was
Yeah.
the end product, our end film is what will be judged on. It doesn't matter how well we've done throughout the 2 years and when performing,
Yeah.
it's the same. Like, you got it all down and then you get a cold the night before a show and you're not quite on your A game. That's what
Yeah.
you mark. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Tell me if that's wrong.
Well, it's like with drama school, I mean, the first year, it wasn't a lot of performing, it was more studying method and things like that. So you were judged on, your understanding of method and how it's used in practically and stuff like that. And it would be a lot more acting exercises than actual performances. But then, we got a big part of our grade was based on like final performances and stuff, and we did have to do a dissertation in a third year, but most of our written work was like for ourselves, like working character work that we'd used to put towards things that we were doing in drama school, so it wasn't like marked as such.
Fair.
Yeah.
I hate the method, just for the record. I have an A level in theatre studies. I got an E. And I did 2 weeks of a GCSE in drama and then changed to ceramics. But I fucking hate the method. Did you ever do any like brackets or stuff that just stuff that was like, this breaks the fourth wall and everyone needs to know it's a play? I'm like, this is my bag, like Burkoff.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fucking Burkoff's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, we did loads of that, especially in drama school. There's certain things that I agree with, like, but yeah, a lot of it, like Brecht and stuff is, but
oh yeah, everyone who has gone on to be an established actor or an actor doing things such as yourself still does not rate the Brecht stuff at all. Everyone like me, who I wasn't quite there. I'm there to DOS. Stuff. I worked fucking hard for my E.
Yeah.
But like, I was never gonna have it as a career.
Yeah.
And I loved that, fucking with the audience and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it was
sure.
just so much more relaxing than having to get into headspace and believe my character, but at the same time be constantly aware I'm a character. It's intense.
Yeah.
The method is intense.
I mean, I feel like you can learn about these different methods and stuff as much as you want, but every actor in the end is going to have their own process and way of doing things. And I mean, like, I do think I take certain things from different methods and stuff, but in the end, it's my own personal process and way of doing it. So, yeah.
Fair. Sorry, tangent there. So first you spent more time working on techniques and the method and stuff than more practical performing.
Yeah.
What stuff did you perform at uni? Or
what stuff did I perform at uni? Let me think. We did. So I'm thinking my final performance was one called Saturday Night, Sunday Morning. It's a play and it's a film, and that's pretty cool because it's set in the 60s and it's like surrounded by the kind of 60s music scene, which I really like. So that was fun, and I got to do like a bit of it wasn't a musical, but my character did a bit of singing and stuff in that. So like I don't think I'm like an incredible singer, but I enjoy singing, so that was fun. I remember one of the songs I did was like a Cilla Black song.
Nice.
And when I first got told I was doing it, I was like, I can't sing like that, but actually doing it was really fun. I think that was our main performance, like our final performance that we got a lot of our grade based on. What else did we do? Sorry, it's been a while since I was at uni.
Yeah, sorry for that. This is fascinating. Melanie has delivered.
Yeah.
Oh,
I found it really interesting.
Yeah, so the first year was a lot of like the like art of doing things. So for example, one of our initial projects was we had to do like just a daily thing in front of an audience. So we had to choose something, and I chose putting makeup on in front of an audience and doing it how you would do it naturally, not in front of an audience. So it was getting used to being natural and real in front of an audience. So like I wear makeup most days, so it was like, oh, that's something I've done repetitively, so I should be able to do it fine in front of an audience. But of course you get in front of an audience and you're like, how do I put on makeup? So when they first said, oh, that's what you're gonna do, I was a bit like, that's kind of an odd thing. But then actually it's like, oh yeah, you sort of the way you move and stuff, your mannerisms become different when you think someone's watching you. So that's a lot of what the first year was about, trying to be like, they were like the audience is very much about like being real on stage and in front of a camera. So that was a lot of what we did in the first year. We did a performance in the second year. I can't remember what the play was called. This one was set in like Victorian England, and it was like all about the cholera crisis, so that was a really cheerful one. I died in that.
Of cholera?
Yeah, of cholera, yeah. So that was like, yeah, that was a fun, cheerful one. We definitely did other things, and now I'm struggling to remember things. That course was actually acting for live and recorded media, so we did quite a lot of filming stuff during that, which was good, and we did radio stuff. Actually found that I particularly enjoyed doing the radio stuff, and it wasn't something I'd ever thought about, but actually doing it was fun, getting to like use different voices and things like that. So we did that, and we got a final sort of film that we could use to put on a show reel at the end, so it kind of gets you going for your next step out into the acting world.
What was your film?
Oh, well, let's just say I didn't use mine. I wasn't keen. My characters never got a name, but was referred to as Posh Bitch, because apparently I come across as being really posh, which I don't think I do, but that's what I was cast as. And yeah, she ends up in the film. It was a short, I'm trying to think, it was probably about 20 minutes, and in the end she ends up shooting the other guy. But I don't know. I remember watching it back and just being like, no, I don't like this, I'm not going to use this. I wasn't keen on doing that one. But yeah.
Fair. And how did you find, because obviously there's the difference between stage and film.
Yes. Oh my goodness, such a difference.
Yes.
Oh, I wasn't, totally unprepared for that. I'd got so used to doing theatre, because I mean, I still mainly, a lot of what I do is theatre based. And then when you go from theatre to film, and you're just consistently being like, you don't need to do all this big stuff, you don't need to like wave your arms around and do these massive facial expressions and project, like just be normal, like you don't need to do that. It's really bizarre. It takes a while to get used to doing the different kind of thing.
Yes. Not too long ago we filmed a film. Sorry, I'm going to try and be as vague as possible, because it's not a criticism, but just because I don't want, if I say this wrong, and I don't want the person to like be easily identifiable.
Mm-hmm.
But it was two of them who had just come from like quite a run on a stage.
Yeah.
And they were used to performing these roles on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So we started filming them, and they started moving around as if for a stage audience.
Yes.
And it had to be like, okay, right, you need to stop, because the camera's here.
Yes.
You don't need to do these movements at all, because that's not, like, don't worry about this, just stick to, and they did, and they did a really fucking good job on it, and it was a commissioned scene and they were happy with it, kind of thing. But it was, I've seen that, I've had that with actors before, and the other way, I know some actors, I know one of them in particular who they're finding it quite difficult, having done just film for a couple of years,
Yeah,
back on
sure.
the stage, and finding that's a
Well,
challenge for them.
I think a lot of people assume that theatre would be the more kind of scary thing to do because it's live, but actually I find film a lot more intimidating because you mean that camera's so close and it's taking everything you're doing, and even just like what your eyes are doing and stuff like that is so much more intimate and it's picking up everything. Whereas if you're in a theatre, and I mean a lot of people can't even really see what your face is doing or whatever, it's just I find film a lot more like scary to do than theatre.
Fair.
In theatre your audience is far away. In film it's right like in your face. So yeah.
And repeated.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't do too many takes if we can help it. Trying to find performances and things, but I know some directors who I've worked with some directors who do 30, 40 takes of the same thing.
It's not got that natural flow. Like
it's like 1-2 lines, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
Have you not got this yet?
Yeah, sure, exactly.
But
yeah.
Even us, like we now, like for years, it's been 2-camera shoot. But even us, we want a 2-camera shoot, and now we need to move the cameras to here, so we need this bit again.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and repeating.
Yeah.
Repeating. Whereas on theatre, it's like, oh, my arm was up here this time, but that's fine because
it doesn't matter.
the next night, it doesn't matter where
no continuity errors.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
I think one of the good things that we do, or at least for how we work, is that we tend to, even if we only want like a little bit in like a shot, we tend to go through like a big chunk because it flows better.
Oh yeah, sure.
Rather than like, we just need this one line in a close-up. We're like, right, do this section in a close-up.
Yeah, always start
we'll get
before,
the bit.
build up
Yeah.
to the bit.
Yeah,
That's
makes sense.
Was. We just wanted to say how good we were.
Yeah, we're great.
That's all
we
this
are
was.
amazing.
It's a ruse. No, okay. So big difference. Do you feel you adapted to it?
Yeah, like I say, it takes time to get used to it, but it's a really good challenge, and I find film a lot more challenging, which is perhaps why I tend to steer towards theatre a lot more, especially at the moment, because it's more comfortable. But it's a totally different kind of skill set, I think, and a different kind of challenge. But I do want to do more film, and I really should, and I'm going to pluck up the courage to do more soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
If you want commission scenes, just think of us.
Yeah.
We're not expensive. Okay. You got a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a
2-1.
2-1. Very, very good.
Thanks.
2-1's very good.
Cool.
I fucking hate people who are like, it's not first. It's like, fuck you, 2-1 takes work.
Oh my goodness.
Every degree
yes.
takes work. Like, my brother got a third, and like what he went through to get that third, and the stuff he dealt with in the year and still able to study. Anyone who gets a degree gets fucking credit.
Yeah.
Says the person with a degree.
I got a third, I think. Is the third the lowest one?
No, you got 2-2.
No. I got the basis lowest score.
Oh shit, you did get a third.
Yeah, I think it's a third then a fail, isn't it?
Really get a
Well,
third?
I didn't do any paperwork, Sam.
A third is
It was
still a pass, though.
100% of my passing grade.
That's what I'm saying. It's
100% of my passing grade was based on the project.
Yeah.
My paperwork was non-existent. I don't write.
Yeah.
Sam's a better editor than me on paper.
See, you have to explain that to make that.
So Sam got a better grade in uni for editing.
Yeah.
In the 2 years, I did all the editing. We worked together.
I feel like you're a little bit bitter about this.
That sounds.
It's not a running joke.
Like I sat on my ass doing nothing, which was only 60% of the time. I would look at the edit and go, can we try something like this or that? And that's a skill I've got. Is like, and I do edit shit now. I edit all the wrestling promos, everything. Like this year, I've learned to edit properly to a degree. I've learned about 60% of editing and 40% of Tom, how do I do this? Show me.
Well, I wouldn't even know where to start, so.
But like that's how we work. I do the writing. I'm more pre.
Yeah.
You're more post. But somehow I qualified as a better editor, and
That's hilarious.
occasionally the sentence, well, as the more qualified editor in the room, may have been ushered.
Brilliant.
Not during tense times. I never use that as a go-to
Yes.
legitimately.
Because that
And
might
not if you
end-
actually need editing help.
Because I can't lose time.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Our experience of filmmaking wasn't as like intense or as kind of cutthroat as your acting thing, which
Mhm.
might be partly to do with where we did our degree as well.
Yeah.
I don't think not that many people even carried on with film after their degree kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I certainly understand kind of the bitchiness and the drama kind of bit of it and the
Yes.
intensity.
Mm-hmm.
You got your 2-1,
Yes, I did.
nicely qualified, and you moved back to Sheffield.
Yeah.
Actually, can I just ask, you said you had a boyfriend for 2 years that
Yeah.
you broke up with.
Yeah.
Did you say that on recording? Or?
Yeah, recording,
Yes,
yeah.
you did say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Was he an actor?
Yes, and I think he still is. Yeah, he lives in London and still acts now, as far as I'm aware.
Was he on the course as well?
He went to. I met him at Norton, and then I went to Arden, and he moved down to London.
Oh, okay.
And he went
Got you.
to Central, down there. So
Got you. Sorry, for some reason in my head it was you met at Arden.
no, we
So,
met. We met at Norton, and then went to different drama schools. Yeah. But yeah, he was, and I'm sure still is. I obviously don't see him now, but he was a brilliant actor, and I always suspected he'd probably be pretty successful at some point. So hopefully he will be. I've not seen him in anything yet, but
It's nice that that it's the breakup where you're wishing each other well.
oh
It's
yeah,
always good
yeah.
when it's that way.
Yeah,
rather
for
than
sure.
Not
Mhm.
stabbing. So yeah, you graduated 2-1.
Yes.
Came back to Sheffield.
Yeah.
Where
Mhm.
did you go from there?
Well, we did a showcase at the end of our third year at drama school, which is basically everyone on my course. There was about 20 to 25 of us. I'm not sure exactly how many. We all did either a 2-hander or like a 3-hander, so that everyone could get a chance to show their skills. And
Sorry,
then
hander.
oh, sorry, like a bit of a play or a bit of dialogue that's between 2 or 3 people,
Right,
meaning
got you.
that everyone's got a lot to show, so nobody's
Yes,
kind of
yeah,
like a
yeah.
small part of the big part.
Is this where they bring in talent agents and things?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then we did one in Manchester, and we went and did one down in London, and invited a bunch of agents to both, and I got an agent in Manchester doing that. So I stayed with I had my agent for a few months.
Drink ahead here. What did you perform to? impress the agent?
It was from a play called The Acid Test, which we chose because we sort of got not paired up by teachers, but suggested like you work well with this person, you work well with that person, and the girl that ends up with, we wanted something obviously really like female led, and we found this play called The Acid Test, which is got 2 main female leads, and we found that the 2 characters are kind of very similar to ourselves in like, because we were quite different people. She's a lovely girl, but she's really different to me. So she was a really like strong, confident girl, and I was always kind of more at that point the kind of quiet girl. So we found this this play called The Acid Test, like I said, and we did that. So we did a kind of a couple of scenes, I think, from that. And then yes, I got an agent from a Manchester-based agent from doing that. So yeah, I went with them for a few months, and they're actually good. They were constantly like suggesting auditions and stuff, but I ended up leaving that agency because, well, one, it's hard to pay rent when you've got auditions during the week all the time and you need a job. And 2, like I mentioned before, drama school did kind of slightly put me off acting, and I started to get this fear that like every time I went for an audition I was going to be like really harshly judged like I was at drama school, which actually is ridiculous because they don't care. They just want you to go in, see if you look right for the part, and if you can do it, and if not, bye. And if you do, great. Like they're not there to like make judgments on you, on your talent or anything like that.
Or at least not tell you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. But I mean, the majority of auditions I had, it would literally be like, go in, take a picture, read some lines for a camera, or, for a bunch of people if it was a theatre show, and then leave, and that was that. So I did a few auditions, like I auditioned for this, it was I think it was Oliver Twist for the Crucible, and I had an audition for a show, Fresh Meat, on Channel 4, and stuff like that. But my confidence was just so low at this point, and like I say, I was struggling to get to auditions, because it would be very much like you'd get a phone call, oh, hey Hope, you've got an audition tomorrow in London, and I'd be like, well, one, I've got work tomorrow and I need to go to work, I can't just say I'm not going or I'll get fired. And two, getting a ticket to go down to London for the next day is like 100 quid, and I haven't got 100 quid. So it just was like this combination of me telling myself, you're not good enough to do this, and money and stuff being an issue, that made me just think, right, I need to stop doing this. So I actually didn't do much acting for quite a while after that, after doing those few auditions and stuff and being with that agent for a few months.
You've suggested this before, but is that the confidence from drama school thing?
I think I had a big part of it, yeah. I think it was a big combination of that. Like, I had, of course, been nervous doing stuff, acting and stuff. I think I always will get nervous about it. But there's a difference between having nerves and having really bad anxiety and dread. Like, I'd have an audition coming up, and now if I've got an audition coming up, I've got nervous excitement. At this point, it was dread. Like, I was so anxious. I was terrified of doing it. I thought I was going to make a fool of myself, and I just get really bad anxiety about it. And, you know, you get to a point where you're like, why am I doing this? It's not fun. Like, this should be something you're passionate about and you enjoy doing. And if it's not, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Can I ask? Right, so I got an E. I've joked about this E in theatre studies. I got a B for my performing and completely nothing for the written, because it was shit like, here's a play you've never seen, you have 2 hours to write how you would stage it, and I just, I'm not that fucking guy at all.
Yeah.
One of the drama teachers told me that I had presence and I could act, and if I just looked at, like, if I retook my A-level or did some sort of accessy thing, I could have a career in it. But I'd got to the point where I felt physically sick at the idea of going on a stage. Like, the stage fright and the idea of people looking at me just made me physically feel panic attacky at the point. Was it that kind of...
It got to that kind of point, and it wasn't so much about the performing, it was about the thought of, like, the judgment and stuff, I think, and being told, like, that I wasn't good enough, or I didn't have any talent, or that, you know, I was, like, ugly or anything like that. It was more, it wasn't the performing so much. It was, I feel like if I'd gone an audition and I'd gotten a part, once I got doing it, I'd be fine, because I was always like that at drama school. Once we were actually doing a piece or doing a play, while I was in it, it was great, I loved it. It was all that surrounding stuff.
Yeah, just did you get told anything like that, like at drama school, or?
Oh my goodness, at drama school you're constantly being told you're rubbish at everything. It's like, but they like, they kind of make a point of saying, like, oh, you really need to have thick skin to be an actor, so we're just kind of doing this to, like, prepare you for the real world. And then actually I've heard of loads of drama schools doing the same sort of thing, and I just don't. I mean, my experience of the real world of acting is really not actually like that. Like I say, I mean, I'm sure there are some directors in professional circumstances that are harsh, but most people, I mean, they're putting time and money into this and whatever. They want you to do well just as much as you do. So why would they just be horrible to you and call you rubbish all the time and stuff?
I do wonder when I see that why.
Yeah.
I've worked for some directors that were like that, and some actors actually that were pretty shitty, and I always wonder why, like, what you're achieving.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see the point is, like I say, your performance and stuff is always going to be better when you feel good about what you're doing. It's just as simple as that.
Tom and I rely on that.
Yeah.
No, the vibe when we film is really important.
Yeah.
Really important. The
Yeah,
atmosphere
definitely.
on the shoot. You can break your shoot way before you put a battery in the camera. Anyway, okay, so confidence is knocked. You didn't act that much?
Yeah, I sort of I took a break from it for a while actually, and then I kept thinking about going back and getting back into it, and I started getting more serious about doing that, and then I got pregnant. So
Cool. Did you start a career in anything else in the meantime?
I just did sort of some sort of hospitality stuff, working in bars, restaurants, retail. I did some childcare stuff like nannying and being a teaching assistant, just bits and bobs. Nothing I was passionate about.
Yeah. Were you still figuring out what you wanted to do at this
Yeah.
point? Yeah.
Because I mean, at this point, I just felt I was like utterly lost, because I was like, I've only ever wanted to be an actor, and now that's not, as far as I thought then, that's not worked out. Now what? Like, I have nothing else I'm passionate about. So yeah, it was totally like, I hadn't got a clue what I was going to do in my life at that point.
Okay, now the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm. Completely unplanned. No, completely unplanned. I was 23 when I felt pregnant, and I still felt like a kid myself. It was completely unplanned, but obviously turned out great, so I can't really complain.
Cool. Just for the record, like, you can reverse the numbers. I'm 32 and I still feel like a fucking kid. Cool. I don't know how to ask this. So unplanned pregnancy.
Yes.
Was it from a relationship or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with
No.
the results in a baby. Just, I don't know. I just was like, I'm wondering, and I don't know how to word it.
Yeah, we'd been, at that point I think we'd been together about 3 years. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Still with him?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, still with him now. Yeah, my little boy's 3 now. So we've been together about 7 years now altogether. So.
Fair.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, had you started doing any acting stuff before you fell pregnant?
Actually, funnily, I think I had just contacted a company I knew of in Sheffield, being like, oh, have you got anything coming up, because I want to get back into acting, and then was like, oh, I'm pregnant, this is really not the best time to be getting back into acting. So, but
it's very specific roles when you fall pregnant.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So then obviously that pushed things back a while, and I had my son, Ezra, and then having a baby just kind of takes over your life entirely, and you just, I think like a good year, you just don't think about anything else. So acting was like at the back of my mind at that point. And I think Ezra was nearly 2 before I actually got back into acting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, talk us through that. So before pregnancy, you'd made the decision, I'm going to go back to trying to do some acting.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get back into it. And then Ezra was 2 when
he was about 2, yeah.
Finally made that jump.
So it was kind of on a whim, actually, because I kept going like, oh yeah, I'll get back into acting at some point when Ezra's a bit older. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then it was always like putting it off. And then the guy I mentioned earlier, Toby, he put on his Facebook that his theatre group, Mage Plays, were having open auditions. And something in me just told me to go to that audition.
What play was it?
It was Margarita, which is like a kind of like a rom-com, but with a bit of a twist. Like, it's not like a classic rom-com. Did you?
Right, I watched the video that they put out of it.
Yeah.
Because Agneta.
Yes.
Louise Spencer.
Yeah.
Was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked with her on a couple of films and stuff. I couldn't make it for the days of the show.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we only did it a couple of times. I think there was only 2 days it was on, yeah.
So was Margarita your return?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And it just felt like I'd never been gone. And actually, if I think about it, that had been like a good 3 years that I hadn't done any acting, and then I got back into it, and it was like, yeah, this is right again.
Like a release.
It was so good, and it was so like nice to be with people. Like, the thing about, I found, especially in like a Sheffield theatre scene, is that everyone's really supportive and everyone wants everyone else to do well. And that was such a nice atmosphere to go in after all this like anxiety about
Yeah, I'll say about Mage Plays. So their first play as Mage Plays was a play called Game Night.
Yeah.
And one of the actors who was in Game Night commissioned us to do some showreel material, and they asked if they wanted us to do a scene from Game Night. So I know some people, I don't know the Mage Plays guys, so I'm like, some people can be quite precious about their work and etc. So I just messaged them like, is this okay? And they couldn't have been more nicer and interested and excited and wanted to see the end product and were really good about it. You know, just like it felt like complete creative, you know, like the collaborative bit of, yeah, man, let's see what you do with it kind of thing, rather than the, I'm not sure, or I need to think about that, or how are you doing it? Like, there was no interest in how we were going to film it, just let us see at the end kind of thing.
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
were really, really good about that.
Yeah, they are good. They're really, like, open-minded, and they're a group that's quite new and just starting out, and they've got some really brilliant ideas. I think they're going to go really far. They're a really good group, and a really talented bunch of writers and stuff as well. So, yeah. And they really write, like, really fun characters to play as well.
Game night was fun.
Yeah. I watched the video of game night because I couldn't make it to the show as well for that one, but yeah, that was fun to watch. And then Margarita that I did, it was a really good character actually to start back into, because she was very much just like me, and obviously that's probably why I got the part because she was I was basically just playing myself on stage. So that was like great, because it was like, and the thing that I came back to do, I wasn't being pushed out of my comfort zone. I was just doing something that felt natural and right, and it was really good.
But you were around the environment.
Yeah.
The stage and the chaos.
Yeah, with a bunch of really like fun, crazy, really talented people as well. Yeah. So it was a really nice group to like get back into acting with.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. And from that, okay, so I know you did some other plays before Bullet and Bullet, which I know you're in.
Yeah, I've done a few now. So I did. I was involved in like a new writing festival, which is like.
Was that in London?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where a bunch of people like submit like small pieces.
I had a play in there.
Oh, did you?
It was well received.
Wait, when was that? The last one?
No, a few years ago now.
Oh, okay.
Did you go every year or?
No, I mean I'd never even heard of it until people that I knew suggested auditioning for it.
Yeah, I did a play about a guy who was a woman who's on the phone to work, and she walks and finds a guy who's going to hang himself.
Oh.
And then they have this really casual conversation about him hanging himself, and it's like a tragedy comedy, dark humour, and it got really good laughs and reactions.
Oh, good.
Yeah. People really liked it.
Yeah,
were really complimentary to my face about it, which I'll take and choose
yes.
to believe. They can't all be like ardent.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it was great.
No, it was.
Yeah, so I did like a couple of small things in that. And then from there, I went to do a production of Private Lives, which was really good because that's only like 4 characters. So basically everyone that's in it is a main character. And it's like super fun because it's set like in like the 1920s, which is a really fun era to be doing. And then you just get to be super dramatic, which is great. It's so much fun. Like I had to cry like 7 different times on stage. And yeah, wear really fun, pretty costumes, and it was really cool.
These, sorry, just to go back, the writing festival roles.
Oh yeah.
Detail.
Oh yes. So I did 2 in that. One was it was a really interesting piece actually. It was a conversation between 2 people. And it was like, you could tell there was like this tension between them and this massive past. And it's sort of like, as it goes along, it starts to kind of become clear that these people are basically God and the devil speaking to one another. I was cast as the devil. I don't know if that's anyone trying to tell me anything. Which is really funny because, like I mentioned earlier, I'm from a very religious family. So I went home and I was like, "Hey, Mum, I'm playing the devil," and she was like, "What?" So
Lucifer or Satan?
Satan.
Okay.
So the guy who wrote it was a Catholic guy, and it was a really interesting piece. It was just basically based on where it's meant to be set is that Jesus has just been crucified, and it's in those few days between his being crucified and coming back, and they're just having a conversation about what's happened in their past and history, and like Jesus is trying to convince Satan to kind of you've still got time to redeem yourself and stuff, and Satan's just bitter and so actually they said the reason I was cast as that is because the way I look is quite like friendly and innocent looking, and they didn't want anyone to suspect that I could be this evil person, so that's why I was cast that way, apparently, was what I was told. So that was, pretty heavy piece.
Fair. Sorry to get on my high Jewish dreidel horse right now. That happens in the Bible. You guys call it the Old Testament, but it's the Testament. Guy called Job. He's I love God, and then Satan talks to God because they meet up in the Old Testament, because we like our characters to meet, good dynamics, good stories, probably made up, but we're good storytellers as a people, and they just have a really good debate about if Job would like God if he suffered a bit, and then God makes Job suffer loads. And then it just kind of ends. We're not good at endings. Jesus had a very final, here's an ending, here's the sequel bait for your post-credit scene where he's flying up the mountain. I respect that, but this idea of God and Satan talking together isn't revolutionary. Bloody Catholics taking credit for our work again. Anyway, carry on.
So then that was quite a heavy piece, and then I did another piece that was it was a monologue written by a lady based on like her own life experiences and feelings, and it was just talking about her past relationships and stuff like that. So those were the two pieces. Like the God and Satan one was like about 20 minutes long, and then the monologue was like 5-10 minutes. So they're both quite small pieces. And then I went on straight from that and got straight into doing Private Lives.
But were these applications, is that the right word? Like, did you audition for these roles, or was it like someone saw you went, come do my thing?
Everything's audition, even like amateur stuff is like auditions. So the way the New Writers one was like a workshop audition. So rather than going and like reading a script, they just ask you to like do things like interact with people in certain situations and act out certain situations, how you'd behave in that situation, and like so basically they get to know what kind of person you are and what your kind of skills are, whether you lean more towards comedy stuff or whatever, and cast you like that. So that's kind of like a workshop style audition, and then Private Lives was more of like a reading the scripts, like read it how you believe the character would do it, kind of more classic kind of audition. So quite different types of auditions, but they're both quite fun to do. I mean, the workshop ones are a little bit more nerve-wracking because you just don't know what to expect and you get put on the spot, and improv is not my favourite thing to do. So they're a little bit more nerve-wracking, whereas kind of reading scenes and learning monologues or learning lines is, you can prepare for that a bit more. So,
are you over your audition, I don't want to call it fear or anxiety, but...
I'm excited about auditions now. Like, there's nervousness, but in a good way.
Healthy,
excitable nervousness, not anxiety. I wouldn't be doing it if I was still like that. It wasn't worth...
Do you think, and tell me if I'm wrong, 'cause I'm sorry if these percentages, having some more life experience and having a child and working those jobs and stuff gave you that more sense of self and stuff? Because it sounds like you went from... like college to university to auditions, like no real break to, in the harsh sense, find yourself. You learn more about yourself as you get older, and I kind of especially having kids and stuff, you start to care what other people think less. Things that used to feel like would be the end of the world aren't anymore. You've got more important things to worry about. So if you go to an audition and make a bit of a fool of yourself, it's not the end of the world. Whereas before all that stuff happening, like you say, working, having kids and stuff, that would feel like the end of the world to me. And now it's like, there are a lot more important things than if you go in an audition and you don't do a great job. That person doing the audition is probably going to forget about it by the next day. They don't care. Why should I care so much about it? So it was just a complete change of thought process. And I think that's where the change came from. Fair.
Yeah.
Cool. So going through auditions, you did I forgot the name. The 4 women play. Oh, the 4.
Oh yeah, Private Lives. Yes, that's a Noel Coward play, and it's a really fun, like kind of silly comedy, but because it's written in the 20s, it's like kind of like an elegant silliness to it.
Is it like farce?
Kind of. Yeah. So it's like, so it's basically like there's this guy on his honeymoon with his new wife, which was me, and then there's this woman on her honeymoon with her new husband, and the guy and the girl are divorced partners, and they end up on the same, like in the same place both on their honeymoons to their new partners, and end up bumping into each other and falling in love again. So it's like, so I was like the scorned woman.
Nice.
Which is now a running joke because the guy that I did that with, I've acted in another play with him where he did the same thing to me again. Well, not so much that, but I kind of told him I loved him and stuff, and he rejected me, and I was like, you are so horrible to me. Everything we do, you either like cheat on me or reject me. Like, this is so harsh.
Cool. And then from that, did we reach Bullet and Bullet?
Private Lives. Yes. Bullet
cool.
and Bullet.
That's where we saw you.
Yay!
Bullet and Bullet.
Yeah.
And the gag where you are revealed to be a secret undercover agent.
Yeah.
You gender swap and then jump back.
Yeah.
I fucking loved that. And it's when you came back afterwards as him. I was like, you revealed to be this undercover gruff agent guy, and then you come back as him, and you're still all triumphant and the smile and everything. I was like, that was funny.
Yeah. Really do you know what? Like, I'm really funny about watching myself on screen, and I still haven't seen that yet. So I don't really know what that like even looks like as an audience member. I really need to sit and watch Bullet and Bullet.
It was great.
Because when we did it, I was like, does this look good or not? Like, I don't know like how it looks from the audience perspective. I really need to sit and watch that and see how it looks.
It looked good.
Good.
Your accent was very, very good.
Oh, thank you. I was so nervous about that as well.
Most of the accents were good. Some slipped.
Yeah.
But I can genuinely say this. Tom will back me, and I can get Sarah, because we all went together to see it.
Yeah.
And when we were walking out afterwards, yours was one of the characters we said, like, compared to Margarita and Game Night, some of Bullet and Bullet, which I did really enjoy as a play, felt a bit too random.
Yeah, it was pretty random.
Yeah, or a bit too kind of, I don't know, the story didn't flow as well for me as the other two did. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, there's a really clear, especially with Marguerite, there's just like a really clear arc to it and stuff. Yes. So yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I thought the second act felt a lot stronger. Like, I wish the first act had been more.
A lot of people have said that to me, actually. Interestingly, you're not the only person that said that.
First act wasn't bad. I'm really trying to balance it out between, like, I didn't write this fucking play, like, give my feedback, but not come off as I can shit on it, because I'm not in a position to do that, and I'm not shitting on it. I had fun both acts, but you're kind of, you started and it was like you were a villainous character, but then you're not. Mm-hmm. You go in and buy the stuff from the toy. And the like, bear. Your accent, your character was like very good. It's one of the characters we walked down. We're like, really like that character.
Oh, thanks.
More of her.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
That scene in the toy store was particularly hard for me because the guy playing the shopkeeper, I just found absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
And every time I had to make eye contact with him, it was so hard to not laugh. So I found that one particularly challenging. I had to kind of make an effort to sort of look like not in his eyes, at the side of his face, because I just creased every time I saw him. It was just too funny.
He's an actor, and I would say you were this from what I'd seen as well, who like you find yourself drawn to look at, like presence, I think is the word they use.
Thank you.
And I think I'm pretty sure in Game Night he was a sort of, not quite extra, but he was one of like the ensemble guys that turned up and did something and then went off again, and he had a death moment that was just fucking great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed you in Bullet and Bullet.
Oh, thanks. It was quite fun to do.
Yeah, when I realised, I was like, oh, she's in Bullet and Bullet. Oh, it's her. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's something to talk about.
Yeah.
So we haven't met, but we have shared a theatre. You on the stage, us watching.
Yeah, cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was the one that booed.
Yeah. I was like, boo! Boo!
Well, it depends which part you were booing.
All of it. All of it.
Yeah. Also, Hannah, who does the sound, she did the composing. She composed all the music, Hannah Burgess.
Oh, yes, yeah.
We work with her on everything.
Yeah, I've worked with her a few times. She's brilliant, yeah.
Like, currently, the work we give her is composing wrestlers' themes.
Yeah. She's actually a really brilliant performer as well, but she gets really bad stage fright, I've heard, so she doesn't perform very much. But, like, singing and stuff, she's absolutely amazing at.
Oh, she is.
Yeah. Really talented.
Cool, so Bullet and Bullet. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Bullet and Bullet was so fun. the thing about made plays auditions is it's weird because you've never read the script. It's a original play, so you haven't got a clue what you're getting yourself in for. So you turn up to the audition, and the way they do auditions is they ask you to prepare your own monologue, and then you sort of get given this task of thinking what's going to work for this play they're doing that I've never read. So I'd heard about Bullet and Bullet, and they'd said like, oh, it's like an American cop 70s like joke thing. So I went and found a monologue. Oh, I can't even remember what it was now. Oh, it was from the film Bridesmaids, because I was like, these female characters are going to be ridiculous, so I need to find something equally ridiculous and really American to do, because they're going to be going over the top with the whole American theme. It was the bit where I can't remember her name, Melissa McCarthy, is she called? And she's like the bigger girl.
Yes.
And she's like giving the main woman in it like a lecture about like her life, and she's just utterly ridiculous. So I was like, this looks fun, I'll do this. So yeah, I did that for the audition, and accents terrify me. Like, I'll give them a good go. And I feel like if I've got enough time to research and practice an accent, I can do an accent fairly well, but being put on the spot with accents is terrifying. And I mean, I had about a week to sort of prepare this audition and be like, learn an American accent, and that for me was quite terrifying. But it must have gone all right, because I got a part, and it was quite a fun part as well. I'd sort of had the female lead in Marguerite, which was one I did before, so I kind of thought, well, I'm not going to go for the lead in this one, because one, I don't think I'll get 2 leads in a row, and two, it'd be nice to go with a more comedic role, because the other thing about major plays I found is that the main character is usually the more sensible one, especially the female kind of leads. They kind of are like the more grounded character.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'd done that in Margarita, so I wanted to push myself and do something that was a bit more like a comedic role, because like I say, I don't think of myself as a funny kind of actor, but I just keep giving myself all these challenges. So I was like, I'm going to go for a role that's not the main role, but it's like has got more of a comedy element to it. So that's why I went for that role and got it. And it was fun. It was so different from anything I've ever done. It was probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever done, but it was a lot of fun. And particularly the actual performing on the nights in the theatre was just great, because we got such good reaction from the audience, and that just makes you thrive as an actor on stage when you're getting good audience reaction. There were times during the rehearsals where like I was thinking, are people going to laugh at this? Are we taking certain things too far? Not just the writers, like the actors were taking stuff and going a lot further with it than the script like would say, and I'd be thinking, are people going to laugh at this? But obviously people did find it funny, and I absolutely loved doing it on stage. It was so fun to go on stage and get a good reaction. It's like, you just love that as an actor. So good. Yeah.
You were very good.
Thanks.
Okay, so Bullet and Bullet, and we're now over stage and stuff. You've got a play coming up. Have you done anything else since Bullet and Bullet?
Yeah, I did a production of Emma by Jane Austen. So I went from doing a 70s cop comedy to an 19th century Austen.
Nice. I forgot. I need to ask about this. Advert.
Oh yes, I was in an advert. Yeah, that was so random. I literally got a message from a pal on Facebook being like, "Oh, I know these guys that are filming advert tomorrow, and someone's dropped out and they need an actor. Do you want to do it?" And he was like, "Just send like a clip of yourself or a picture, whatever it was, to the person, and they'll let you know if they want you to do it." So I did, and then they called me back and they were like, yeah, please come and do it tomorrow. Here's all the lines to learn. And it was massive. Like, they ended up shortening it a lot, the actual advert. But it was a monologue that was like an A4 page long.
Yeah, but it's like for insurance and stuff.
Yeah.
You fucking liar. You're selling insurance and you didn't benefit at all.
It was apparently based on what a real person had said. It was just...
Whatever.
I don't care. It was great. I loved it, whether it was true or not.
Did you get paid?
Pardon?
Did you get paid for it?
A little, yeah. It was a small paycheck, because like it wasn't like for TV, it was for their website and social media and
It's
advertising.
good. There's no judgment here.
Yeah, it was good, and
Paint
it was
a light in my face.
well, yeah, but it was crazy. Like I remember that day, so I had one day and one night to learn it, then I had to go out to Rotherham the next day to film it, and I remember being there like trying to like play dinosaurs with my 3-year-old kid and learn these lines at the same time. So I'm there going rah rah and like trying to memorize all these lines, like crazily doing it. And I was like, I'm not going to remember these by tomorrow, but somehow I managed to like get it all in, all the words. And yeah, I went there and it turned out really well. It was great. I really enjoyed doing it.
Nice.
It was like really intense because I got there. I'd gone on the train from Sheffield to Rotherham. I arrived there. It was a really hot day. It was over the summer holidays when it was boiling. I was like sweaty and gross and nervous, and they were like, here, sit in front of this like really big massive light that's really hot, and like here's a camera right in your face, like, and just do it. And it was like, so it was quite like, whoa, being thrown in the deep end. But I think sometimes that's just the best thing, gets you going with it. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, back to Jane Austen. How'd that go?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was fun. That was where I also got rejected by the guy that rejected me in Private Lives. This is a guy, he's called Matt Medlock. He's a really brilliant actor. He's a great guy. He's one of my favourite people to work with because he's super professional, but he's also like the nicest guy ever. I'd recommend him as a future guest. We'd done Private Lives together. Then it was him actually that had told me he was going to audition for Emma, and I was like, I'm going to come too. I'm going to tag along, because that sounds fun. Love getting like dressed up in all those kind of costumes and stuff. That sounds like fun. And then I got the role of Harriet Smith, she's like the main character's best friend, and she's just really like naive and girlish and ditzy and silly. So that was fun. It was quite a light thing to do, which was nice. I could kind of just enjoy it and not have to think about it loads, but just kind of get into it and have fun with it.
Yeah.
So that was really nice, light sort of production to do. And that was on at the drama studio, which is quite a nice space to work in as well. So it was
good crowd, good turnout.
Yeah, apparently it was their best turnout they'd had for anything in years, and because I guess Jane Austen's really popular, people want to see it.
The name carries.
It's a crowd pleaser, isn't it? Yeah. And we got really good reviews and a really good turnout, and everyone who came to see it seemed to really enjoy it.
It doesn't sound like you've had a bad experience since.
Do you know what?
Picking it back up.
Do you know what? I really haven't. Really haven't. Yeah, I've really enjoyed everything I've done since. Yeah.
Before we go into what you've got coming up, just want to ask some questions about. So obviously, when you graduated art and you had your doubts and stuff, you're now 27 with a kid, which obviously like is considered later or older in an actor's term,
for sure.
especially for a female actor.
Yeah.
Any doubts around that kind of stuff, or are you just kind of going with it? Or
I initially thought there would be, but I've been cast as like 17-year-old parts, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to get any of the good parts anymore. They're all going to go to like these 19-year-old girls and all this, but it's not been an issue at all. And like I say, I'd much rather be acting at 27, feeling a lot more confident as myself as a person, than be like how I was at 21. So no, not really.
Do you have a dream role?
Oh my goodness. I did used to always want to play Elizabeth Bennet in Pride and Prejudice, because I always liked her as a character. But now I've done a bit of Austen, so I'm not as obsessed with that. A fantasy is where like my heart would lie, like a role in something, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones type thing would be a fantasy role. Some sort of fantasy thing where I get, oh yeah, I would love to do something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I would have loved to be like on Game of Thrones or something like that. Would be like a dream role.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought about this long and hard. Do you know what role I'd like to play when I'm a bit older? Rincewind. I reckon I could be a really good Rincewind. Terry Pratchett. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got a play coming up.
Yes.
At the time of recording, God knows, like if it's still coming out when this goes out.
Well, it will be on in February
2020.
It is currently November
2019.
Yeah, I have just started rehearsing for a production of Frankenstein, which is also on at the Drama Studio. So yeah, that's on in February. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. Yeah, a bit of gothic horror, Victorian stuff sounds really exciting after doing so much comedy. I'm quite excited to do something that's a bit more like serious.
I do like plays that start with a good rehearsal period before.
Oh yeah, we've got a decent rehearsal period. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be really different from anything I've done in a while. And we were doing a table read just last night, and we got about halfway through the play and we had a break, and I said to the director, I was like, oh, I'm so jealous of this other person, because they get to have this scene where they scream, and she said, just wait, and it got towards the end, and then it's like my character screams out, and yes, I'm like gonna scream on stage. I love it. Yeah. So like my character is Victor Frankenstein's fiance, and she's kind of very grounded character throughout, and Victor Frankenstein's he's kind of a douche, and he's really like arrogant and is just a horrible person, and then she's just kind of this lovely person that brings him back down to earth. But then towards the end I get to be like attacked, and so I'm excited because I get to really like sink my teeth into something and really kind of use some like...
Yeah, you get to go for it.
Yeah, totally go for it. And I haven't done anything like that in a while. Everything's been kind of like comedy based and stuff, which is just a different kind of thing. So it's going to be exciting. And I get to wear a wedding dress. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm out of questions. I think we're all caught up to Monday.
Yeah?
Yeah. Hanks, you got anything?
Well, so normally we ask, like, what's your worst experience been? But it sounds like since you come back, at least, everything's been pretty good.
Yeah, it has been pretty good. Yeah. I haven't got really any complaints from anything I've done recently that I can think of. Yeah.
Have you got any questions or anything you want to say or anything else?
I don't think so. Just that, yeah, I'm looking forward to like seeing some of your guys' work. Hopefully I can. That's why is that
we
funny?
didn't talk them up.
No, I like seeing what like creative local people are doing. I think that.
Well, please keep your expectations low, because it's better to be pleasantly surprised than have any expectations.
Don't worry, I've seen some really terrible stuff in my time. I'm sure it can't
I think we're better than that.
None of our films are the worst film ever made.
Exactly,
because
so
we've
don't
seen some of those.
I really like the films we make, particularly in the last few years. Tom, when you give them about a 2-3 year birth after all the intense editing, you then actually do quite like a lot of the work we've done. And there's a short film we made called Mistake, which was kind of a turning point, at which point we sorted our shit out in terms of like prep and getting the work done, and the effort has, I feel, paid off, and you won't know.
Yeah, well, I just think it's good when anyone sort of like puts that kind of effort and stuff in, because
I think it's good when people get paid.
Yes, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah,
we'll get paid soon.
Yeah.
Soon in the future.
We have had plenty of paid jobs.
But it's also a good sign that like you're doing stuff because you're passionate about doing it, not that you're doing it for a paycheck. So
don't really know anything else to do. I'm not as good at anything else. Filmmaking is a terrible profession.
I know. Well,
if I was good at anything else, if there was anything else in the world that I could do and be happy doing.
Yes, I know that feeling.
I remember when I was good at maths.
No, I do love doing it.
Yeah. Probably should have looked into that at the time.
Right, we're going down that road, so I'll stop there. Hope, thank you very much for coming and recording this. I found that really, really interesting.
Oh, cool.
Genuinely really enjoyed, and thank you. You shared some, like, not super deep, but deep. Like, you were honest and personal, and I really appreciate
thanks for having me. And
I would really love, I don't know, a year down the line or something, when you've had more experiences, if we could do this all again.
Yeah, totally.
back.
That'd be great. Yeah.
We'll hit you with a pie again, and then sit down and talk about all your
See how
what
it
you've been-
compares to the first pie.
See how you're doing. Well, not the pie. See how you're doing. Like
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Yeah,
Maybe
I'd love to do
we'll
that.
work together by then. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
that'd be cool.
You've not seen our films yet. You can't commit to it. No, thank you very, very much. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
thanks
this.
for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been good.
Did it go alright, considering I had no... Like, my only prep was asking you to send me links so I could
Yeah,
look into some
no,
stuff.
it went great. Yeah, I was worried I'd just kind of go blank and not know what to say, but that
No,
that
Melanie
happened.
delivered. You've
Yeah.
been a really
Oh,
good guest.
thanks. Thanks to Melanie for recommending me.
Yeah, and thanks you for listening, dear listener.
Yeah.
Yeah, see how I segued into it. Yeah, thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.